ask you, your debt has mainly come about from medical expenses.
Medical expenses and obviously
Interest and interest
and more
admin fees and
interest.
more interest and more
Yes.
interest and more interest.
And little debts escalating into bigger debts because I wasn't able to work. I wasn't really working for almost 4 years.
What did you do? What would you tell people who are in that situation? What would you tell people? What is the first thing that you do when you are overwhelmed with debt? You're not able to work, you're not able to service your debt. All your debt is doing is growing and growing and growing. What do you do?
Well, you first look at where are you going to go. And in my case, I was fortunate I had this other good Samaritan who somebody referred me to, and I called her up and meeting Mushfika, I have to say that. I cannot lie on this interview. When I met you, you made my path and my journey that I was experiencing. You made it seem like, you know what, Annie, if you just keep going, if you have 100 rand and you can pay something with that, start doing the little things first.
Taking the small steps.
Yes.
And not looking at it as this big burden, cutting it down, making it easier for yourself. Did you find that cutting that debt burden up into things and sizable chunks that you could deal with at that point in time, did you find that that made it better?
Yes, I did, because I knew it's not going to go away. But I had to change. I had to decide for me, through your assistance and your help, that I needed to start writing more things down. So I've got a black book now.
Yeah.
And in that black book, it's different names of different people that I need to see to, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's still my responsibility. It is not somebody else's responsibility. I can't go and look at my mom. I can't go and look at friends to kind of sort that situation out for me. Because you know what? The phone calls are going to keep coming.
They don't stop.
They
Don't
stop.
stop.
They really don't stop.
It doesn't matter what your situation is, the creditors want their money, rightfully
Yes.
so.
Whether it's going to cost them in the end, say technically you're sitting with a 3,000 rand that you owe somebody, they're going to put their interest on there every single month. So
And every phone call that they make to you, they charge you for, and it goes onto your initial
exactly.
debt.
And so you say to them, and I was honest up front with a lot of people, and I would say, you know what, I can only afford to pay 50 rand.
And I remember initially when you came to me, I remember you saying to me, what do I do? And I said to you, go and speak to your creditors. Be honest with them, tell them what you can afford. But that's often very easy for somebody else to say. How difficult is it for somebody in that situation to actually find the courage to go and speak to a creditor?
Well, I think first initially, when you're searching, say if you want to speak to your banks, then you need to go, first of all, to your branch. Then the branch maybe can't find your paperwork. So maybe you want to go a step higher than that, because you want to negotiate with them. Because besides the fact that you do owe the money, you have other skills.
Yeah.
Like I have motivational talking skills, I've got team building skills. We offer various different team buildings for different women out in the communities. We run children's programs and all of that.
So
you're
you
not
were
sitting
even
there
saying,
and
saying, I'll do whatever I
yes,
need to do.
Exactly. I mean, if I owed you 100,000 rand, technically, I will say, okay, fine. For the next 2 years, you have booked me once. Let me do a spate of workshops for your company, for your corporate, and we can negotiate in lieu of writing off
But you
some
took
of the
responsibility for your debt, and that you just needed to work. What you literally did was you also worked your debt away.
I worked, and I'm still working. I'm working like a slave. Now I'm actually working, and I'm getting actual money in my hand.
That's fantastic.
You know? And now I've got to go but you see, there's two things. There's the debt that keeps escalating, that keeps coming. Then, in my case, I had some personal friends who came forward. Of the few friends that were there, that knew Anne Soroki, that knew me, that knew my legacy, that knew that if they made a phone call, I would be there. I would go out and bat for them. If they needed an MC and they didn't have the budget, I would go out and I would bat for them.
But how many of those people are out there? How many true friends do you really have when death cripples you?
No, they like, you know what? It's like a doom can. When there's 20 cockroaches and you start spraying, they just scatter.
Yeah.
You just actually don't find them. And the sad part is people won't even come to you and say, Annie, have you got something in your house? Have you got food to eat? How do you manage on a day-to-day basis? So you become a hustler out there because all you really want to do is you have two choices. You can either stare death in the face. I'm sitting with a car, I can drive up Table Mountain and I can plunge down the mountain. Or I can say, oh no, God never gave that to me. That was never ever
The plan.
the plan. You know, when there's a plan and there's a purpose for your life, you need to look in between, why was this given to you? You didn't ask for it. It came. Because nothing, I mean, death is certain. Everything else is in between. So your journey becomes this game of life. And you even become afraid to answer your phone.
Of
because you know,
course.
like sometimes say, okay, fine, now what you're going to say to these people. And then you start holding on. You start holding on to the mushfikas of this life that says to you, you know what, Anne, it is okay.
And it is.
It is okay because so many people out there are not willing to come forward and to tell their story. And people are really dying.
People are literally dying because of death.
And maybe it's not a death where you're going to be holding a funeral for them, but you might as well hold a funeral. Because people just withdraw, they withdraw. And what happens? You're in a no-win situation. Because, number one, you end up getting so sick that you have to go to the doctors. Then they are going to prescribe pills to you. So you need that. So you're going to go to somebody and say, can you help me? So what happens is you just add more insult to injury.
And
More-
it goes on and the cycle
Yes.
just continues
And it doesn't
over and
stop.
over and over again. So
But I think, you know what, Ms. Vika, if people in this life can understand that we all have a real role to play in each other's lives,
definitely.
then maybe there will be a newness coming about. And people are willing to take when you give. They are willing to ask when they need. And I know there are some people out there that are sitting in a really amazing position. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to say, my word, couldn't you come forward and do something? You know, you need to still bless those people. You need to still understand that unless your life gets affected in the way that my life is affected, that's the wake-up call for you.